Hi, Bill. This is Sue Wong calling from Los Angeles. I'm a fashion designer.
Yes, thank you, Sue, for giving me a call today. I was just looking over the Cedars, a lovely home you purchased in the 2004, and what a
Yes,
history that home has on that.
yes, it does. It's really full of energy. It's full of really creative energy. And I have a friend who's an energy worker, and he walked in and he immediately said, the site, this house, and the house itself is a huge vortex of power. In other words,
Wow.
it's a major power point for all of Los Angeles. And
Jeez.
that's why, this house has always drawn so many amazing creative energies and, geniuses and near geniuses and all kinds of illustrious people throughout history. Do you know who lived here?
Jimi Hendrix stayed, Dennis Hopper, I think it was, what was Howard Hughes played the piano in there.
Yes, Hughes played the piano here. He not only played the piano here, this was his home in the early 30s. And Bob Dylan lived here, Lou Reed and the Velvet Underground lived here, Van Morrison lived here, Bob Dylan lived here, Johnny Depp lived here. I mean, the list goes on and on. I think I'm enveloped by this really wonderful magic aura that the house, I guess, it emanates, and it's really quite something to live here. I restored the house to its full splendor. The house rather found its appropriate mistress in me because I'm someone who really cared about her to really restore her back to her original vision, which was a vision concocted by a very creative visionary artist and movie director by the name of Maurice Tournier, who came from Paris in the teens to really work for MGM Studios. And one of his movies, the black and white version, was The Last of the Mohicans. My house is the ultimate of old Hollywood movie glamour. It's really a movie star palace. Norma Talmadge was the preeminent movie star of the 1920s, of the silent era. And she was the character inspiration for the character of Norma Desmond in Sunset Boulevard. That's played by Gloria Swanson.
Yes.
Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up now when she utters the immortal line. So Norma Talmadge was the preeminent movie star of her era, and she and her husband Joe Schenck lived here, and Joe Schenck was the founder of 20th Century Fox and United Artists Pictures.
That home is unbelievable. I'm sure it's
Yes.
just private. It's not open to tours or anything, but
No, it isn't. But it is a bona fide museum. But one of these days, when my stewardship will be over, I hope to really bequeath it, to really have it turned into a museum because, the beauty of this place really is marvelous and it really should be shared.
is there pictures of your home on the website that people can look at?
I do have pictures of it on my website. It's www.suewong.com. So please go and take a look at my three homes. I do have three homes, which I call Body, Mind, and Spirit.
Oh, yeah.
And the Cedars is the corporeal feminine body because to me, she's a grande dame.
I know you've worked with Rachel Fredrickson. She's the biggest
Yes, I
loser,
did.
and of course, losing all that weight and then trying to transform her from the inside out. And I like and I completely understand because who we are inside is how we look to the world on the outside. Really, it's that confidence.
Absolutely. I feel that what is in our psychological internal landscape, manifests itself in our outward world. In other words, what we experience in the outer realm is a full manifestation and a reflection of what really takes place on a psychological level on the internal end of things within ourselves. I did the physical transformation on Rachel,
Yes.
but the real full manifestation has to really come from within her psychological interiors. And so she really has to overcome all of those obstacles of unworthiness, protection, and just really, going into this whole psychology as to why she gained the weight in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Because when women gain weight, or men too, I would say,
yes.
but a lot of it to me is psychological. It's all psychic protection.
Yes.
We use weight as a psychic shield against people with whom we do not feel emotionally safe. And I can really speak, directly about this because I was in a relationship for many, many years, which fortunately is over now because it was codependent and it was just really destructive.
The hardest
but
time.
I did not really feel safe with this partner on an emotional level, even though outwardly things seemed to be okay. But he was always critical of me. He was always, disdainful and condescending, and I always felt that I was really being devalued. So I gained in the course of that relationship about 50 pounds, and fortunately, since he's been gone, I've lost nearly all of it, and I really feel free and liberated.
Congratulations!
Thank you. So I know very well about this subject. So getting back to Rachel. Yes, I manifested the goddess. I channeled the goddess when I dressed her because, my mantra, by the way, is beauty, period, magic, period, transformation, period. What I create is beauty, and the alchemy of beauty is magical. That power of magic has the ability to transform. So I like to think that when a woman puts on a Sue Wong design, she can really be magically transformed into a beautiful goddess.
Yes.
However, she must feel like a beautiful goddess to begin with, because all the outward accoutrements is not going to really help anyone unless she feels this change from coming from within.
Yes, I totally agree. And how do you, unfortunately, you can't talk to each one who is fortunate enough to wear your designs. And they're beautiful. I've seen them. And I'm aware of them. And there's such creativity, and it's all coming from your own inner self. That you're exactly who you are is, and what you said is exactly why those designs are so beautiful. That's it. Period. Hands down. And how do you? You're welcome. And how does a woman go about feeling good inside? How does she turn that inside so when she puts on your fashions, that she can feel the full. Encompass it both, the inner and exterior beauty?
Well, I think, there has to be a sense of self-empowerment. You have to really say to yourself, enough of this self-doubt. I want to feel good about myself. So there has to be a lot of positive, self-reinforcement and affirmation. So you have to really do a lot of internal work. And a lot of that is really painful, but if you come through on the other side, you end up feeling great. Because, my clothing is really all about empowering the divine. It really connects every woman with the feminine divine, because I really try to honor every woman's inner goddess. So I think every woman has to channel her inner goddess and really honor that feminine divine within herself, so that it can really carry over from the internal world to the external world.
Well said.
And I think feeling good about oneself is really mandatory in life. Feeling bad about oneself is what really gets us into bad relationships. It gets us into all kinds of trouble, with regards to friendship, how we really view the world, how we choose our work, and whether we really choose to really find joy in everything instead of the negative. So you really, need to really take pleasure in all the small things. It's all attitude in life. It's really sort of copying the right attitude as opposed to really clinging on to yesterday, grief, sorrow, suffering. You have to transcend all of that in order to be a joyful person. If you look at the future with fear, you are living in fear. So you have to really get out of the constraints of fear in order to liberate yourself and welcome the future. Welcome everything that is really good by embracing life. If you cling on to yesterday, you're living in the past, and you're not really being present in the moment. You must be present in the moment and embrace all of life. And if you embrace life and you really, go into it with fearlessness, you will not really dread the future. So, getting back to the weight gain of Rachel, yes, she has to get beyond the fear, because the fear is put on those, 150 pounds. So unless, she does the internal healing, it will come back, because, people just really revert back to the old fears, the same box, use the same motifs, and relive it over and over again. It takes courage to really transform and change. People revert back to old patterns because it's tried, it's familiar, but old patterns will also keep us imprisoned. We have to really break out of that prison. I mean, I certainly did.
Yes.
And I am really the most fulfilled and the most happy as I have ever been in my entire life.
You found the key, because we all have the key to free us from these chains that we bind around ourselves.
Yes, we do. And the key is self-realization and the fact that we are worthy, and that we are worthy of a good self-image, of feeling good about ourselves and feeling positive about our future. And, it's all based on self-worth. Basically, I think most people have a lack of self-love. So if you really want to love the world, if you really want to save the world and heal the world, I would say start with thyself. Socrates, the great, Greek philosopher and healer, over his doorway were inscribed, "Physician, heal thyself."
Yes,
so
yes.
We all must really start with ourselves, is what I'm saying.
You need to write a book. I think you could make so many people aware of what they can do to transform their inner self.
I've been told that I'm really a great transformer,
yes.
And I do have that power to affect change in people by really being motivational and inspirational. And yes, I've been asked innumerable times to write, several books. So, and one of them, featuring the Cedars, a coffee table book on the Cedars.
Oh.
One about, my own personal transformational journey, because I've had an incredible life story. My mother and I escaped from communist China, for instance, when I was 5.5 years old.
Jeez.
So that was a whole episode, in my life, and a whole other lifetime ago, it seems. But
yes.
I've had an incredible journey, and I probably should share it with a lot of people out there, because I think they will really find it to be inspiring, as a story to listen to.
I think so, because you're the real deal. It's just not.
Yes, I am the real deal.
Yeah, you've gone through it all, and you're willing to share the dark sides that you've had. The bad relationship you had, the codependency.
Right.
It's there.
Exactly. Well, the dark side, which is what we all have to go through in order to really see the light. So we have to kind of move through that darkness in order to come through on the other side, to really be transformed and to be bathed into the light, So you can't really have light without really having darkness. That's really part of the human journey. Everything that we move through, to me, there is a higher purpose in it. And that's to really make us really grow and evolve into a better and stronger person.
Sue, for people who want to follow you, I want to make sure I have this right. You're on Twitter, and that's Sue Wong Fashion. Facebook is Sue Wong Fashion page. Your website is SueWong.com. Do I have that correct?
www.SueWong.com, yes. And I also have a personal page on Facebook, which is also open to the public. Well, it was really delightful speaking to you.
Thank you, Sue.
Okay.
I enjoyed your time.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.